You're listening to the Just Go Bike podcast. We're all about the culture of bicycling just for the fun of it. Your host, Kathy Murphy from the Morphology podcast and Andrea Parrott from Parrott Talk are joined by a wide variety of guests each week that delve into the social side of cycling. With tales from RAGBRAI Nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now, here are your hosts, Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
And that's me. Well, hey, Murph.
Hey there, AP. How's it going?
Oh, great. I think we have a good episode coming up today, so I can't wait.
We are literally in official RAGBRAI headquarters podcast studio. We get to look at each other today, and we have a special guest right here in the same room with us.
That's right. First of all, it's called Parrott Talk Studio.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Parrott Talk Studios.
Yes, and our special guest today is Mr. Matt Phippen.
Hello, ladies. How are you?
Ride director Matt Phippen. I would love to spend the next hour talking to you about the route, the hills, all of that good stuff. But we've got an even better topic today.
Right.
Yeah, we have two extra special guests with us today from Ride with GPS. Hello to Michael.
Hello.
And
hello to Brett.
Hey there.
Hey, and hopefully listeners know what Ride with GPS is, but I guess if you don't, just listen in because we're going to tell you all about Ride with GPS.
Yeah, we're excited to have them as a partner for the third year in a row.
Yeah, it's great. It's it's a platform that we've used. I've used since day one to map everything out. That you take it from a paper map and turn it into a digital. But it's been, for me, it was a little bit of a learning curve early on. But now I feel great using it, and it's truly. I don't think I've scratched the surface on what is possible with this platform as far as just doing a lot more. So as we, as I learn more, we'll do more with it.
Well, let's start with Michael. Before we get into the details of Ride with GPS, will you tell the listeners a little bit about where you live and if there is a cycling culture there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I live out here in Wisconsin, a little town called Viroqua on the southwest corner of the state near the Mississippi River Valley. I like to refer to it as the best place you've never heard of. It is it's the heart of what's called the driftless region of Wisconsin. And I think Greg LeMond notably mentioned a number of years ago that it's the best road riding in the world.
Wow.
It's this amazing corrugated landscape, and road and gravel are huge here. And we actually punch above our weight in mountain bike trails as well. Still developing, still adding miles each year. It's an amazing little place.
And when you say the word driftless, that makes me feel like there's maybe some up and down elevation?
Oh, yes. We got about 500 feet of elevation gain and drop, but it happens pretty dramatically. Like the glaciers didn't level everything like they did the rest of the Midwest.
Yeah.
So it's a really great place to be.
And riders, if you rode RAGBRAI last year or 2 years ago and went into Lansing, we had a little tiny taste of the driftless region up there in northeast Iowa. But just imagine that, but everywhere. All right, so Brett, tell us where you're from and what the cycling like's there.
Yeah, so I live in Boulder, Colorado. I'm sure a lot of listeners have heard of that and maybe even have been out here to ride some of the amazing canyons and climbs that we have. So, our elevation gain and loss is a little different than what Michael experiences in Wisconsin, but the riding here is great as well. So lots of great paved roads, great climbs, high elevation stuff, really big gravel scene with some of the farm roads and old mining roads that you can sort of get out on, and there's not a lot of traffic or vehicles, which is really great. And then of course, the mountain biking scene is really good too. Lots of local trails that folks can ride to from their front door, hit some trails, and then roll back into town for lunch and a coffee somewhere. So yeah, the riding scene here is pretty amazing, and the weather doesn't hurt.
Well, and we have to mention the views. I mean,
Yes.
we all love Iowa. Well, us three at least love Iowa. We think you guys do too. But to view those mountains every day just has to be spectacular.
Yeah, I originally grew up in Illinois, and I've been in Colorado for about 20 years. And every time I see the mountains, I'm reminded why moved from Illinois.
No offense, Illinois. You're great too, but
Yeah.
you can't compare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about Ride with GPS. And I think to start out, you guys live and breathe Ride with GPS every day, but can you give us a high level of what exactly Ride with GPS is and who uses it and who should use it?
That's a great question. We Ride with GPS. We're a worldwide community of cyclists. We're adventurers, explorers, ride leaders, everyday riders, and we really care about the quality of every ride. Our platform is really great to help you discover, create, and share great rides. Matt really alluded to some of the capabilities and how he's helped take the analog maps and bring them into the digital space. And using our platform and our service, you can really tap into the user-generated content. Millions of routes have been created by other users, and those are all available for anyone to explore on our platform today. So I'm really excited to share more about how RAGBRAI riders can tap into not only our service for the event, but then afterwards and into the future as well.
So is Ride with GPS, I already know this answer, but I'm going to ask it as if I'm somebody new to what exactly Ride with GPS is. Is it a tool that you use on your phone, or do you have to have a bike computer to use it?
Yeah, you can use either. So we have a mobile app that allows you to find routes, navigate routes, just go on a ride with your family, your kids, your riding friends. And then we also offer the service where you can push your routes to your preferred cycling computer. And so it's sort of choose your own adventure. You can use your phone or whichever computer you like to have on your handlebars.
I love it. And we got to use these, we had bike computers when we did the ride across Iowa for the route inspection ride, and being able to see, the route, which came from Ride with GPS, which probably came from Matt's brain a while back. I want to definitely talk about the route inspection and how we use Ride with GPS. But before we do that, like Matt, you started to allude to this, but there's got to be some really cool features that you guys want to showcase.
Definitely. The platform is absolutely packed with features that all appeal to different types of riders. But I think the ones that really kind of stand out to the most people, on our mobile app, we have instant directions. So in our app, you can basically plug in any location and get an optimized cycling route with turn-by-turn directions, audio, on-screen cues. And if you take a wrong turn, we'll automatically reroute you to that destination. So, even if you're this devout bike computer user who's like, I'm not going to use my phone for navigation, this is really nice to have this app feature in your back pocket as a game changer. So that's one we love.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the ones that I didn't know before the pre-ride that I discovered. It's really cool, and I think the key word in how you described it is bike friendly. It's not going to take you on the highway, which a inferior mapping product has done for me before. So it's nice to have that peace of mind that it's going to take me where a cyclist would want to be. Really, we're going to have all sorts of guides available online and through email for the people who are on our email list. But could you give just a quick description of how are riders going to access the RAGBRAI route via Ride with GPS, or any route in general, I suppose?
Yeah, absolutely. I can tackle this one. So specifically for the RAGBRAI routes, there'll be an RSVP link that your team will share with everybody that's registered for the event, and participants simply click that link, and if they currently have a Ride with GPS account, they'll automatically be RSVP'd to the RAGBRAI event, and they'll have access to all of the routes for the whole week. And if folks don't have a Ride with GPS account currently, they'll be prompted to sign up for one, which is simply you're adding your first name, your last name, your email address, and accepting our terms of service. Then they'll be able to access those routes and view them on their computers on the website. They can view them on the mobile app once that's downloaded to their phone, and they'll be able to save those routes. So they have them, like Michael mentioned, either in their back pocket in their jersey or on their handlebars on their cycling computer.
Okay, and I would say one of my favorite features that I hated at first, but then I grew to love it, was the climbs. Like the one day, I think we've talked about it on the podcast AP, where I think it was Tuesday, there's like 45 climbs.
Yeah,
You know,
it cuts it down for you.
Yeah, early in the morning, it's like 2 of 45, and I'm like, no, I can't look at this all day long. But then, by lunchtime we were half done, and then when you get to like, climb 38, I'm like, oh gosh, we're doing this. I am doing this. So I thank you guys for that feature. It's pretty cool.
Once I got comfortable using Ride with GPS, which is very easy. I put in all my routes immediately because I like the climb feature and I like to know when I'm training, am I doing something that's going to be productive for the real RAGBRAI?
Yeah, I love it now. But that first day I was like, oh geez. Yeah. Is there a cost to the person using Ride with GPS to use this service?
So for folks that are RSVP'd for the RAGBRAI event or things like that, no, we have 3 different plans. There's a free plan and then 2 paid plans, one being our basic plan for $59.99 annually and our premium plan, which is $79.99 annually. But anyone that's RSVP'd and navigating routes built by Matt and the team at RAGBRAI will unlock premium features even if they have a free account.
Oh,
so that's a
cool.
really great benefit and an awesome perk for folks to jump on board, RSVP, click that link, and they'll be able to have those really cool features while they're navigating RAGBRAI for that week.
That's awesome. And then AP, you said, we'll probably speak to this at the end of this podcast, but there'll be a place at ragbrai.com where everyone can go and learn how to do this, get the chance to RSVP, and then boom.
Yeah. Like I said, it's extremely simple, but we'll have it on all of our different platforms, the blog, through email, on our social. So riders will be able to find it easily.
Okay.
It will also be at day 0 too. So they'll have, Brett's going to be there. And I don't know if Michael, are you coming to Iowa in July, Michael?
Oh yes, we'll be there.
Yep. So they'll be there. I think that was one of the biggest things last year, after we talked about it in my meetings with, support drivers and newbies, I got instantly bombarded with, how do I put it on my phone? How do I do this?
Yeah.
So now to have these guys there and be able to send, our riders and our support drivers to their booth or at, at the high school, when we do this, this communication with these riders, they'll be able to kind of alleviate some of that, the stress that I was trying to show them how to do it. And it was all walks of life. It was young, 18-year-olds to 70-year-olds trying to figure out how to put this on their phones, and to have these 2 guys there is going to save us a lot of time and headache.
So Matt, we used Ride with GPS during the RAGBRAI route inspection ride. Can you speak a bit on this? Because it was really, we all were using it. It's really fun, like as the computers are telling us to make a turn, everyone's like, bloop, 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 like it was just cool. So can you speak to it?
Yeah. So, this platform is obviously a platform that we want our riders to use and we want our support drivers to use. So we really wanted to test it on pre-ride to make sure that the turns are telling people to turn left, and actually we need to go left. So as I create this and you plot it all out, the goal is you don't get lost on RAGBRAI, and everybody says, well, just follow the bike in front of you. Well, sometimes that person in front of you is not going to the same site you're going to, so you follow them into the wrong area. So obviously early on we put everything on a paper map and kind of draw kind of where the route thinks or where I want the route to go. And then we start working with the DOT, and I use this platform with them, so they all have access to it, and they absolutely love it and love working with it. But we get to a point where this route starts to evolve a little bit, and to be fair, we will release it on July 1st. But I said yesterday on a call with the DOT, I'm not touching it anymore. It is what it is. The route is good. Brett with Ride GPS is going to kind of go turn by turn and make sure everything still looks good on his end and catch anything that maybe I missed. But the goal is, this platform gets our riders from start to finish every single day. And, when you look at social media, riders want a very accurate route. So the way I route our riders is from campground to campground. So it makes it easy. If you're a RAGBRAI rider and you're going to be spending the night in our campgrounds, that when you leave campground A to campground B, it's 42.9 miles. It's this much elevation, and we've tested it, and it gets us there. So we're good to go that way. from a support route standpoint, this is one of those things too, because we build two different routes. You have a bicycle route that, we try to limit the amount of vehicles on it. And then we build a support route working with the DOT and working with, our other state partners with, State Patrol, county, and then community brings our riders, support teams in on the roads that we want them coming in on. There are people out there that are smarter than us, that have been doing RAGBRAI longer than us, that know our communities better than us, and they think they know the road that's going to bring them into the best spot. But what they don't know is that town is going to have that road closed that day to take away the stresses of people coming in, the back door. So, working with these communities, obviously we start early on with the DOT, and they put us on a lot of the bigger roads. That makes it, easier for our support vehicles to get in and get out of communities. And then obviously when we bring them into these towns, so in Knoxville, we've worked with, their law enforcement and their committee to have a spot where if the support driver follows the route, to a T, they're going to come to a point in every town where there's going to be a staging area, and the town's going to be able to give them directions on where to go next. So if they're in an RV or a bus, that might be in a different parking lot than, they originally thought. So they're going to send them to a different spot. But if our support drivers don't use this platform and they try to use a Google or a Siri or something, other mapping system out there, it's probably going to put them on a road that we don't want them on.
Well, and they probably won't want to be on it.
Once
they
and that's
get
the
there.
biggest thing is, you don't want to turn down a road and then you're surrounded by 10,000 bicycles. So, we've shared this same platform with 511, with the Waze app for, as far as, making sure that the roads that day are going to look red. So like they're going to be closed or heavy traffic. So if somebody is using a different platform, they're going to see that road is closed. But, the one thing that, our riders in our world has to think about is we've been talking about this and working on this plan for months.
Yeah.
So, obviously the roads we're putting you on are roads that we've already kind of talked about, roads that the DOT is working with message boards to have on-ramps and off-ramps closed to make this as super efficient and as easy as possible. But if you have a team or support drivers that just think, I know a better way of getting in, it's probably going to end up causing more problems. And I've dealt with it the last couple of years where you're standing in a downtown, all of a sudden a bus shows up and it's like, how did you get downtown? Well, they came into a town, there was a barrier, they moved the barrier to get in,
geez.
and then we're trying to turn them around. And the other thing we found too is a lot of these support drivers aren't seasoned support drivers, so they're not comfortable turning these big rigs around. So it ends up causing more problems. So, if you're listening to this, we need you to follow the support route because it will bring you into a point in these towns where, the committees are ready to receive you and give you direction. And if you're a cyclist, use the route. I mean, it gives you tons of, information. Will give you turn by turn. So if you can't see a bike in front of you, which is, few and far between, you're going to know how to get there. But yeah, we tested it on pre-ride. We had 20 cyclists. Wahoo was the computer that we used. They're a fantastic computer, easy to use. I'm a big Wahoo guy. Everything syncs up very, very easily. It's easy to get the route dialed in. But it was great. We rode as a group, but it was turn left, turn right, and we all got there, and it made the job really, really easy.
So clearly, the shortest route on your phone maps is not the best route for support vehicles getting into either the lunch town or the overnight town.
Yeah, they're just not all communicating together. So they don't know that maybe the road they want to bring you in on is part of the bicycle route.
Yeah.
So then you turn a corner and you're surrounded by bicycles, which that is unsafe. And that makes it even harder because, trying to get a bus out of, a county road with surrounded by, tons of bicycles is going to be very difficult. So, we want to make sure that the towns are taken care of, and they've been working on these plans. And it's just unfortunate when, a support driver thinks they know better, or this is my town I lived in for many, many years. I know the back way in, but they just don't know that the town has shut that road down to make things easier, and they're causing more problems. So, follow the support route. Know that there's going to be a committee there waiting for you to kind of stage you and get you where you need to go, and then the next morning get you out of town very efficiently. But this has been months in planning. It's been modified and changed, but we're at a point now where the DOT knows the roads that we're on, the county knows, the State Patrol knows. So having vehicles on different roads only causes more problems down the road.
I just wanted to circle back. We started talking about the route inspection ride. One thing that we did with Ride with GPS on the route inspection ride that was really cool was live logging.
Oh yeah.
And we hadn't really talked about that yet. It was really neat, and it is kind of what it sounds like, where I turn it on and my mom can tune in to my link and see exactly where I am on the road. And not only that, it will show how I'm doing, how fast I'm going, how slow I'm going, whatever. But it will also, when I take a picture, it'll upload so people can see kind of what the sights are along the route. And it was super neat. And I don't know if either of you want to talk. I know you both were live logging as well.
Yeah, no, I've used it before. It's an easy platform to use. It's super simple to do it. But yeah, that's kind of how my family follows me across the state when we were riding bikes, so they could check in and see kind of where I was at, and make sure I was still alive.
Yeah.
But no, it's super easy. It's just another platform. I believe it's a paid service, so I don't know if they get that with the free app, but. No, it was very cool to have us, and that was one of the things from my perspective, because this is one of the hilliest, routes out there, that we wanted to show RAGBRAI Nation all body level styles and ability levels were on this live logging, and you could see that everybody made it. Some people were doing 15 miles an hour average, some were doing 12, but at the end of the day, we wanted to show that, this is definitely possible, and we had a wide range of people using that live log that kind of showed that off for us.
Yeah, I'm an extremely average rider, and I think it comforted some people that I made it.
Well, we did get a couple comments from listeners who said things like, man, when we saw how slow you were going up some of those hills.
That's right.
But Brett or Michael, can you speak a little bit about live logging? Anything that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I'll take this one. I'm so glad you guys brought up the live logging, and one aspect of that live logging is so awesome and amazing. The photo upload feature, the ability to take the photo in the moment and it uploads directly to your route. It's such a powerful thing to be able to go back and look at later on. After you've done this for a number of years, you can kind of revisit. It's almost like your own personal diary of your ride experience.
Yeah.
It's so fun to be able to go back and look back on. But separate from the live logging, if you're just tracking your activity in the app and you've taken photos along the way, when you end your ride tracking, the app will prompt you to say, do you want to upload any photos? And you can select photos that you've taken along the way, and it'll take the metadata from the photo and plot it along the route. Similar to live logging, but not exactly the same thing. But again, the ability to put all these photos in your personal activity, and whether you want to keep it private or let the world see, we give you all those preferences. It's such a cool thing to be able to do, especially if you're really good with photography, or even if you're not, you just want to take selfies everywhere. It's just a really fun feature.
Are you speaking to me in AP when you say that? Taking selfies everywhere?
I've been watching.
And so I'm going to make this assumption, actually, because I already know, but I'll still ask it. So with Ride with GPS, can you have let's say I want my family to be able to see my ride every day, but I also want friends, or I also want other RAGBRAI riders to kind of see that I did the day. Like, is it a social app just like other social apps?
No, I don't think we're necessarily social first. We do offer you the option to be able to share varying types of activities, but we're really good with privacy. We have privacy zones. We have if you don't want people to be able to see where you live, you can limit the visibility. But with each activity that you have, you get to choose whether it's going to be public, private, or friends only.
Oh,
so
cool.
you'll always have that opportunity to be able to check that box for each activity you're participating in.
And that also answers my other question, that you can have friends within Ride with GPS.
Definitely. We encourage friendship. We like it quite a bit.
Okay, this might be a silly question, but I'm guessing there's a listener or two thinking about this. Can I use, if I'm a support driver, can I use Ride with GPS to get me from point A to point B? And if so, how will I know I'm on the right vehicle route or rider route when I'm opening up Ride with GPS? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt and the RAGBRAI team have made a separate specific route for support drivers. So there's the road cyclist routes, there's the gravel cyclist routes, and then there's specific routes built solely for the support drivers. So they're going the proper direction. They're not on small county roads surrounded by, all their friends riding bikes, and they'll get them to the lunch towns, the end towns a lot quicker and safer and more efficiently. So just like the RSVP will be sent for folks that are riding the event, there'll be an RSVP link that can be sent for folks driving the event. And I think Matt had mentioned on the expo day, there'll be a symposium, sort of a talk on day one or day zero, excuse me, that will be for support drivers. I'll be there to help answer questions and to make sure folks feel comfortable with the app and the maps, and just sort of take any worry or concern away from them, so they're confident that they're going to be able to find their friends, find their cycling group easily once they get to the end town.
Awesome. Sounds super user friendly.
I'm someone who drives the RAGBRAI route, and this is like a godsend for me. Things that have happened to me before Ride with GPS include I went to the wrong state. I wasted hours of time driving in the wrong direction. I mean, I am not good with directions, and this is like my godsend. I just put my little phone in a little clip next to my steering wheel, and it tells me what to do. And I'm telling you, it's much better.
It's great to hear.
I'm not going to admit which states I've ended up in.
I don't think I want to know.
It was before your time.
That's right.
Okay.
Can I put in a plug for doing some advanced work with the app and the routes themselves?
Of course.
Yeah. So I don't know about anybody else here, but I typically pre-event have some immediate anxiety right before things start. And I would encourage anyone who struggles with that to go ahead and make sure that the day before, the week before, to download the app, identify the routes, and download them for offline use, just to make sure you've got them on your phone. And it's an amazing feature that's available to all RAGBRAI riders to be able to download and keep those maps on your phone, just in case something happens with cell service. It's a great work to do ahead of time, and it can be a huge anxiety relief.
Yeah, I think that's a great point with the not having cell service. It's just unpredictable, especially depending on your carrier, cell provider. I think that's a fantastic point. And it's just something kind of fun you can do when you're getting excited for the ride or nervous, whatever the case may be.
You know what? They can do it while they're listening to our Just Go Bike podcast, right?
That's right.
Okay, so Ride with GPS guys, let's say RAGBRAI's over and now people are completely hooked on Ride with GPS. So they go back to their home community. Can they actually create their own routes that other riders can use?
100%. And that is really the strength of the Ride with GPS platform, is all of our community user-generated content. And when you asked earlier about some of the features that are great and we wanted to share with this audience, the Explore is what we call it. And it's really such an amazing feature. This is on the website and in the app. It's the portal to the millions of user-generated routes that exist on our platform. It's a map-based interactive space where you can filter and sort to find exactly what you're looking for. So even if you're thinking like, hey, I really want to go and create this route, it's exactly what I want, you may find that hundreds of other people have done the exact same thing already. Or you may find that amazing route and say, you know what, no one's really uncovered the fact that you can add in this little bit over here that's, your personal knowledge. So you can build that route and then share it with the world. And it is such a powerful tool. And I'm so excited to hear how this audience, how much they embrace the feature and start to use the routes.
I think it'd be something fun that we could do, Murph, while sometimes we travel for the podcast or for work, different things, and we'll bring our bikes with us and we'll go to a community that we're not familiar with. We could pick it right up from the app and go instead of just sort of meandering around, which is also fun, but maybe less of a workout. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool feature of the Explorer is if you're traveling, if you're visiting relatives or friends, you're not just sort of you have one day to ride. You don't want to, miss an awesome ride because you're just sort of tooling around. You can find rides by that locals are doing, right? You can ride like a local anywhere in the world. So if you're visiting Europe, you're visiting Australia, you're visiting anywhere in the States, there's somebody that's done this amazing ride. You can filter by the mileage or the elevation. Maybe you don't like to climb, so you're going to look for something super flat, or you want to go on a 50-mile ride. So just sort of really finding something that's suited to you anywhere in the world is a really cool feature and that we offer with Explore.
And this is something that riders can do. They listen to this podcast, they can, we'll have the link to Ride with GPS in our show notes, so they can start doing this right now, like looking around their own communities, and maybe they'll find a bike ride that somebody else has done that they want to try and use it for training and all that good stuff. So people can start using this right now, and hopefully there are thousands of people that already are, like us.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why we wanted to share it on July 1st. So it gives them plenty of time. In years past, we released the support route, the week prior, or sometimes it's the day of, when we put it out there, where we want to be able to give the support drivers and the cyclists plenty of time to do like what you just said, download it, get familiar with it, dissect it, know exactly where everything's at, and not just show up on day zero when they're in the middle of the chaos and go, now what do I do? Like they've already kind of have a little bit of a learning curve with getting it all set up, and then by the day of they're pros with it.
I think one other thing that I want to point out, at least, because Matt, you said the actual route is campground to campground. So let's say I pack up everything in the morning, get it on the back of the RAGBRAI trailer, and then I find out there's a cool coffee shop I want to go to. So I go to the coffee shop, and this happened to us when we were on the pre-ride, where once you start your ride, it will direct you back to the route. So it's not like you even have to think. You just push a button and it says, turn right, turn left, you're back on the route.
That's right.
Anything else you guys can think of, Brett and Michael, that we haven't touched on before we say goodbye?
How long do we have?
We 2 more hours. No, just kidding.
I think we covered the majority of the features that we wanted to discuss. I think one last plug for the connected services. I know there's a lot of people out there that use devices. And when I mentioned getting things set up ahead of time, downloading the app, finding the routes, saving them, downloading them for offline. One of the easy things you can do ahead of time, if you're a Wahoo user, Strava, Garmin, Hammerhead user, you can just jump into the connected services portion of your profile, and you connect to these accounts in the background. And that's what makes moving routes between devices so easy. So if you just pin something in your platform or in your profile on our platform, in your route library, it'll flow directly to the device that you have connected already with your profile. So just one last plug for getting some work done ahead of time, because I'm that person who knows that anxiety in the moment, the day of. And I think, I'm really excited to see everybody at RAGBRAI. I think that covers it from my perspective. Brett, do you have anything you want to cover?
No, that I think really sort of sums it all up. And yeah, like we've alluded to, Michael and I will be at the expo and there to help. So come by and see us. We're happy to chat bikes, to chat, Ride with GPS, to chat anything. So we love talking about bikes. We love talking about riding and our route builder. So yeah, please stop by, say hi. Yeah, we look forward to seeing everybody in a few short weeks.
And I'll point out, I don't know if you guys both know, meaning Matt and AP, your profile name on Ride with GPS, but I'm looking at my career stats right now. And guys, I just want you to know that I have climbed 408,000 feet of climb.
That's awesome.
In my career. Not this year, don't even think that, but you can look me up. I'm under Murph, and I am wearing a RAGBRAI jersey in my little photo. But do you guys know what your profile name is?
Well, I think mine's got to be Andrea Parrott.
It's Matt Phippen. I think it's just based on the basic.
Okay, so pretty easy. So I'm happy to be your Ride with GPS friend if you want me to be.
I've uploaded a lot of photos, but I believe my profile photo is me in a fire truck, which is no surprise to anyone.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, that's cool. But Michael and Brett, we are looking forward to seeing you at day 0 at the expo for to go to the Ride with GPS booth. And thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. Can't wait to be there.
You're welcome. Yeah, it was great chatting with you all, and looking forward to it in a few weeks.
Yeah, no, we have a pretty awesome partnership. I look forward to growing it, and me personally learning more how to implement more things to make it more, easier for riders to get access to and understand where stuff's at. So yeah, like I said earlier, I don't think we've scratched the surface on our route planning. So appreciate the partnership.
Yeah, so everybody go on, get your profile set up so you can focus on the fun when you get to RAGBRAI.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in to the Just Go Bike podcast. Murph and AP will be back next week. In the meantime, check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter. And if you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe you have a topic in mind, email them at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. Until next time,
Just go bike!
theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.